Well, we are checking out of our hotel, the Alpine Court, here in Hot Springs, North Carolina. We're going to see if we can do either 8 or 12 today. I'm not sure which. I'm going to go down a little ways and sort of show you a little bit about what we've seen here in town. We haven't explored a lot, but there's the Hot Springs Rafting Company to the right, or the left, or the right if you're going the other way. Not sure what this is. I thought it was the visitor center, but the visitor center's right here. And we'll probably need to stop at the visitor center just for a couple of minutes. I'm going to go down and come in from the front though, because there is a placard here. I'm still hiking on the AT. You can see that on the sidewalk. And there's a plaque for the 50th anniversary, I guess, of the AT. I wonder if there's a time capsule in there. And there's the post office. I was able to mail some things in yesterday. We'll pick up here just in a minute. I'm going to run to the visitor center just long enough to order some shoes. Our trip outside of town, this is Gentry Hardware. We didn't go in there, but this looks to be like an old-fashioned hardware store. Probably something we should have done, but we're later getting started than we usually are, so we got to head on up the road a bit. I think this is the French Broad River. I may be wrong about that. I'll have to look that one up. Beautiful day. It's supposed to be rainy today, but so far we're good. There's the Spring Creek Tavern and the Mosaic Diner, I think is the name of that one. We ate there for supper last night, and I highly recommend it. It was really good. We had a hamburger and fried pickles. And, hey, how are y'all?
Hey, good.
And here's the Outfitter. We did spend quite a bit of time in there. And heading on down the way. Public library's down here. That's where I uploaded my videos. And I think we're about to the end of the block, and we're going to cross the railroad tracks and turn right. So we'll be on up the trail here shortly. view again as we're leaving town. And you might notice that we are a good bit higher off the water now than we were, because we're starting to hike, and when we start to hike, we should go uphill, right? That seems to be the way of the trail right now. We met up with a young man named Elvis. He is starting his hike today. He doesn't really have a big plan. He's new. He has new gear, so we stopped to kind of help him adjust his pack and get his poles situated and get him a few tips to try to get as much of the weight off of his shoulders and onto his hips as possible. And he's hiking with Gavin, and that's a good plan because Gavin can certainly show him some things that he needs to know. So that'll be good. I'm gonna wander on up the trail here and continue climbing most all the day, I guess. But after that, maybe we'll have some ups and some downs. I don't think it's gonna be a very tough climb today. It's just gonna be a long climb, kind of an all-day thing. But we're accustomed to that, so it's all good. Seems like I noticed when I was vlogging last night, seems like I always tend to talk about all the climbs, and it's not always uphill. But those are the ones that really slow us down. I'm getting a little bit better with my wind. Ooh, that's a pretty flower. I haven't seen that flower before. Wonder what that is. I'll have to take a picture. At any rate, I'm getting better on the uphills, but they do still slow us down. And they take a little bit more energy. But sometimes the downhills can be just as bad, pounding on your knees. It just depends. The trip down into Hot Springs was very gradual, and we didn't have rocks or water bars to climb over much. It was really peaceful. But sometimes the downhills aren't any better than the uphills, but we're having a lot of fun, and that's a good thing. That's why we're here. There's a big old tree that's rotted out a little bit in the middle. All right, well, I'm gonna put the phone away and concentrate on walking for a little bit. And when I get good at that, I'll throw in some chewing gum and see if I can do the both at the same time and maneuver my trekking poles. I'm really getting very dexterous out here. Okay, so that was horrible humor. I'm sorry. We'll talk to you soon. Well, we're continuing, and here's a view back over Hot Springs where we just came from. You can see the railroad track right down through here. Okay, there we go, right along in there, coming into town. And that's where we crossed the street and came across the river down here. You can hear that in the background. And my guess is we must have come down this mountain and back here on the way into town yesterday, or 2 days ago rather. And gorgeous, gorgeous rocks over here to the right-hand side as well. So we're gonna continue on up the trail. Oh yeah. All right, so this is the view from the top of the rock that we were just standing underneath, and it's a much better view of town. Very clear, gorgeous little area. Sorry to be leaving it, but it's also good to be back out in the woods. And you can see the river down there. That's just absolutely gorgeous. You can even see the rocks and things like that in the river from up here. Beautiful views. Well, I have to stop and get out the phone here. We are walking back across a ridge, or climbing up a ridge anyway, going back in front of town, and the views from up here are just gorgeous. There's the bridge that we came across, and the back end of the town, well, most of the town actually, I guess, and the French Broad right below us. Absolutely a gorgeous hike out. We got better views going out of town than we got of town coming in the other day. Thought I'd share that with you. Well, we're continuing to get further away, sort of. We've switched back up and down on this mountain a few times, so it doesn't feel like we're further away, but we're certainly a good bit higher now, walking away from Hot Springs. It was a beautiful stay, and we'll come back here and visit again. But boy, the views back down on the river and on the town are really nice. I've been stopping several times here to let you in on what we're seeing. I don't know whether we have other views to come today or not, but I know in the coming weeks we'll be getting towards Irwin, and we'll be coming towards coming down on the Nolichucky River. That's going to be beautiful. And not far out of there, we start working into the Roan Highlands. And I've seen so many pictures and videos and things from up there. I've been near there when I was a kid, and it's just gorgeous up there. And if we can hit it when the azaleas are blooming, or the rhododendron rather, that would be even nicer. I don't know, I think we're gonna be a little early for that, but we'll take it as it comes. So we're gonna head on back on up the trail here a bit. We're still headed up the trail. I think I realized that maybe I say that every time I start a video. And of course we're still going up the trail because that's what we do all day long. So I guess I need to figure out a new something to say. I will say this, the weather out here is absolutely gorgeous today. This has been by far the sunniest, warmest day that we've hiked. I'm in my shorts and my short sleeve shirt. You can see on the tree right here in front of me, it's beginning to bud. And I guess spring is maybe upon us. I still feel like at some point somewhere we are going to get caught in some snow. We haven't seen, honest to goodness, a snowstorm with several inches of snow yet, and I can't believe having a late February start like we did on the 24th. That we've had only one ice event. We had a little bit of sleet for 30 or 45 minutes one night. It covered the ground real good, but that was it. And that's just remarkable that we have it. Now, if we had hiked out of Standing Bear Hostel a day earlier, we would have gotten a little bit of snow, but I don't think it was a ton. And it's really odd to me that we've not seen any more snow than we have. But I'm okay with that right now. I'm not sure I want to hike in it. We're certainly not prepared to post hole. So we're going to take what we got. But I wanted to stop here at the top. I'm kind of waiting on Gavin to catch up and close some distance a little bit. We're still hiking with me out in front, and I'll hike for a ways and then close some distance, stop and let him close distance and get an eye on him and then move on. If he needs me to stop, we've got a signal for me to stop and wait on him. But usually when I get him in my eyesight, he's good to keep on hiking at his pace, and I'm good to keep on hiking at my pace for a little while. And I trust him to know, we've talked about how to make sure you stay on the trail, and it's not really rocket science out here because the trail is incredibly well trodden. So, I mean, even if there's a trail crossing, you're going to generally 9 times out of 10, you're going to take the one that looks like it's been walked on more, and you're going to be on the AT and, walk a bit of a ways. If you come to a trail crossing, first of all, look for the white blazes because the AT is going to be marked almost every time. And even if it's not, walk a few hundred feet, check for a blaze, and if you don't see a blaze, then you need to stop and hold up a minute and maybe get out your phone. We both have GPS apps with gut hooks, which is I need to do a little video about gut hooks because it's a really nifty app. Almost everybody out here uses it. It'll fly in airplane mode because it uses the GPS of your phone to put a dot on the trail where you are, and it's sensitive enough that it will put an arrow saying that you're going this way or that way, so you can actually see on the map. You can stand there and turn or circle around, and the arrow will turn with you. But you can very quickly notice whether you're on trail or off trail. And if you're off trail, it's a simple matter of backing up the way you came until you get back on the trail. So I don't worry about Gavin hiking alone. He's a smart kid. He is equipped, and I know that he's self-sufficient and he's in good shape. Coming into town the other day, I stopped one time for water, and he got about a 15-minute head start on me probably once I got my water done. And it took me an hour or two to catch up to him. But I didn't really worry too much about it because, as I said, he knows what he's supposed to do, and he knows how to stay on the trail, and he knows what to do if he gets off the trail and how to tell whether he's off the trail. So it's been great. This has been a good hiking pattern for us, for me to go ahead on out front a little ways and then wait on him every now and again. And I think I am going to wait right here because there's a place for me to sit down, which I generally don't do, but this is very inviting. So I'm going to take a moment and sit on this flow down for a sec and wait on him to catch up. It seems like every time I do this, I've got the sun right behind me. Sorry about that. I'll give you a profile. Look to the left, look to the right. All right, there we go. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you that I've been thinking about the last few days out on the trail We looked at our map this morning, and our trek today is mostly uphill. We're going to the top of a mountain to stay tonight, even a little bit further if we wanted to go to the shelter. And on those days when we encounter terrain like we've got right now, we're kind of wandering around the inside of a mountain again. And it's kind of flat, downish, maybe a little uppish, but generally trending down slightly. And you think, well, why am I going downhill if I'm going uphill? But I've come to embrace that and realize, well, I'm walking forward. When we started, we had 8+ miles to go today. And I'm walking forward on terrain that's friendly to my feet. It's not taxing to my lungs. I can make a good pace, so can Gavin. And I don't really worry about the fact that even though this is taking me down some and I know I've got to go back up, I know it's getting me closer to the goal at the end of the day. And I think that's, I hope that's a healthy way to look at it. It works for me. It works for me well, to not get me thinking too much about, you know, how hard is the train going to be today? You can really get in your head pretty easily that way, and that's one of the things that I'm trying to keep from doing, and I'm trying to teach Gavin as well to defeat the psychological game, because we're in shape enough now that we can walk, and you know, we're getting faster. We're not as good a shape as we'll be. We're still slow on the hills, and I think we'll not be sprinting up the hills before we're done, but we'll be going up the hills at a much better clip. Attaboy. Lost my trekking pole. Hang on a sec. Squat down. Oh, me. Yep, there we go. We'll be going up the hills better before we're done. But, you know, it's the psychological battles that we have to face on the day in, day out basis of, oh man, it's going to be rainy, or oh boy, the terrain's going to be rough, or it's going to be uphill, or it's going to be hard, or it's going to be a long day. But as long as we keep walking forward and embrace this, you know, the days that we have like today where the weather is beautiful, and at least at the moment for right now, the terrain is as flat as a board, or even going slightly downhill without a lot of things to step over. I know I'm getting closer to that campsite or to that shelter where I'll be staying at the end of the day. And that helps me to be motivated to continue moving along. Having just said that, I think I'm getting ready to start turning uphill again. I can see where this, the trail kind of goes around the inside of a valley and cuts back around to my left over here. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to start ascending again, but it's going to be gentle, and I can do gentle ascents pretty easily. As long as there's not a lot of things to step over, I'm in pretty good shape, or as long as it doesn't get too terribly steep. So anyway, I just thought I would share that thought with you. I am hopeful that by now, whatever the issue with the audio on these rear-facing videos was early on, and I apologize for those on the YouTube videos if you followed me all the way along. I tried to fix them the best way I could with my editing software, but you just can't make sound level when there's nothing there. But anyway, I've been listening to music and also have my headphones in now, so I'm hopeful that this little condenser mic on the headphones is making better audio. We'll have to check that out and see. I haven't started editing the ones where I've done that yet, but I think they're going to be coming up real soon. So I'm hopeful that that's going to make the big difference. Well, I think spring might be coming. Just hiked across these little purple flowers right here, and they're really, really pretty. I don't know that I've seen them before, and even though we're climbing, the trail has been what I was hoping that it would be. It's been a very gradual climb. We got lots of sunshine, and it's just been a really nice walk today. Oh, there's some more of those little guys. I'll have to, I did take a picture of those. There's an app that I use. A friend of Sally's shared it with me, and it's called iNaturalist. I think it's affiliated with National Geographic, but I'm not certain. But I may have mentioned it in a previous video. It's a free app, and you essentially take a picture with your phone through the app and submit it And then I don't know where it goes to get crowdsourced, but people will have a look at your picture and send back through the app the name of what you're looking at. And I think that's really cool. So I'll have to send that little flower in. I had been seeing to the south side of Fontana Dam, we kept seeing these three petal things that had something shooting out of the middle of them, and I had intended to send that into iNaturalist, but I actually found out in town a few days ago that's called Trillium, and I bet they're blooming by now. I haven't seen any in the last little bit, but I bet our elevation maybe is not for it right now. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to continue walking on up. We are, well, there's been a fire here sometime. I have noticed that several places. This tree's charred, and I don't know when that was, but you can sort of get the idea of the grade of the trail. It goes here, and then you can see where it crosses over here. And it's just going up gradually, and I can do gradual. I'm good with that. So I'm going to walk on up the road and see what else there is to be seen. Well, I just happened to pass across this spring right here, and it also has little purple flowers or bluish flowers. And I don't know if you can see the bees buzzing around, but the bees are definitely buzzing around these flowers. And several times as I've walked today, and in just the last few minutes, I have come across and startled a few butterflies at the time. 3 or 4 or 5. They just going to be resting on the trail in front of me, and as I walk up, they start fluttering. And I've not been quick enough to get the camera out to show you that, but I've stopped and just kind of watched them a few times, and that's just that's what God gave us today. Thank you, Lord. It's been a beautiful day, and we've seen so many wonderful things along this trip. I want to tell you a little bit about the Madison County Library, the branch that's in Hot Springs. We stopped there yesterday for selfish reasons. I had heard up the trail that they have really good Wi-Fi, and they do. And they don't mind for hikers to come in and sit down and use their Wi-Fi for a little while. But while I was trying to upload a few videos yesterday, I sat down in a very comfortable chair, and there was an Appalachian Trail Conservancy coffee table book sitting there beside the table, or on the table beside the chair. And I was flipping through it, and one of the things that I could imagine right now watching these videos back home is I can imagine folks thinking, well, I'm not going to watch tomorrow's because I've already seen ridgelines and rhododendrons and mountain laurels, and there has been an awful lot of that. And of course I stop at nearly every stream I cross. I think that's just a personal thing, but they're just so calming to listen to the water go and to see the sunlight glinting in the ripples as it rolls along the rocks. Very peaceful. But the terrain is going to change, and we're going to see a lot of that in the next probably 50 or 100 miles. We're going to get up into the Roan Highlands area, and we'll have balds up there to climb, and that'll be gorgeous. But we've got a long way to walk yet. We've been, I think last night our hotel was exactly at 275.0, and as I've said before, we're picking up our mileage a little bit at the time. We're not doing a huge day today. Oh, there went a butterfly. But it's 8 miles, and we didn't really get good and started until 12 or 12:30. So we're able to do, I think, a few more miles faster than we were earlier on. And if we start putting in some longer days by trying to get started a little earlier or hiking a little later in the day, we're going to get to some of those other bits of terrain, and there's going to be a lot more to see coming up the road. So we appreciate you staying tuned, and especially for looking at rhododendron day in and day out. But just know that'll change eventually, so keep with us. We'll try to find some things that we can do to hold your interest until we see some new things. Up the hill And this is something that I saw in very, very few videos. Cape Cloud is one that I think is the first place I saw this pond that we're about to come to, and I may have that wrong too because I haven't seen the pond yet. But pretty sure that that's the dam for it. And the trail literature lists this as stagnant pond. So they suggest that we probably don't want to drink the water. And that's fine, we've got water. And we have stairs, oh boy. This might be a challenge with only one hand on the poles. We'll see what happens. Okay. Oh, you can hear the frogs and other varmints. Okay. Gavin says he's gonna sit on the bench. I think I will too for just a minute. I wish somebody hadn't carved that tree. But some people just don't understand the concept of leave no trace. But well, this is pretty. It doesn't really look all that stagnant. It's not smelly. Not from here anyway. But yeah, an unexpected treasure here today to come across this pond. Absolutely gorgeous. And we've been following this little gravel road a ways. It's a big oak tree right there. There's a double blaze, so I don't know whether we go up the hill or, oh, you know, I don't know, bud. I don't know. I don't think that's a fire tower. I think that's a cell tower. Yeah. But it might be the thing beside of it. I can't tell. Maybe. We'll have to see. Anyway, there's a double blaze up here on this tree, so we're going to be going somewhere. Left or right, we're going to be going to the left. So not up there where that truck is. But, I was concerned about these clouds that I saw rolling in, but there's blue skies behind it, so maybe we'll still dodge out of this thing. We'll see what happens. I'd like to hope we can at least get in our tents. If we're going to have some rain, I'd like to get in the tents first. Maybe let it rain overnight and soak the earth really good, nourish all the trees and the plants and the bugs and the water or the animals, and then blow on over and let us get up and pack up in the dry. Even if we have to pack up a wet tent, it's better to be packing it in the dry. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure what we've come upon here, but it's definitely the foundation of something from some time in the past. You can see that there, and there's definitely concrete back here. Whether this was once a home or what exactly. But this first significant foundation structure like that I've noticed while we've been out here on the trail. So I thought I would share it. We're back off the road now. We weren't on that little dirt road very long. And now we're back in the woods, which is where I'd prefer to be, because the gravel's kind of hard on your feet. Of course, I guess it's not sharp and pointy like some of the rocks that we've dealt with, but I just like the woods better. Well, here is your obligatory mountain stream / spring for the day. This is the first really good running stream that we've run across today. It's not very big, it's only a couple of feet wide right there, but it sure is pretty. And it has the good babbling brook sounds that I enjoy so much. And we're still kind of plowing along on pretty easy terrain. I'm afraid that at some point we're going to go up, and it's going to go up hard, but I don't know. We've been making progress, and as I told you earlier, as long as I'm moving forward, I'll take the terrain I've got. And if it gets hard later on, it just gets hard later on, but we can make up time on this flat stuff. Well, the woods have put us out right here, and we are going to cross a one-lane bridge. I hope we're not too wide. I think we're okay. I think after the weight that I've lost, I think I'm going to be just fine crossing over the bridge. I'm not sure what road this is we're crossing over. I probably should know, but I don't. Traffic's zooming along though, or at least it was a moment ago. Not much right now. I guess this is just a 2-lane road with a passing lane. Yeah, because that's the end of the passing lane right there. So, moving on down the trail. Finally hit that uphill section I told you that was coming. But I wanted to stop, and I ran across these flowers again. And in a way, they almost look like a wild iris. So I don't know. Again, I'm gonna have to take a picture of that and post it on iNaturalist and see what comes back. But the leaf structure of it down here, the flat leaves right around the bottom there, reminds me of an iris. So I don't know. We'll see what it is. I think we came from down there where that road is, and working towards our destination. But I did want to pause and show you some of the views that we've got ahead of us. Really pretty mountains over there. I don't think that's where we come from. I need to look it up on Peak Finder and see if that's where we're going. I don't know. Maybe it is where we came from. We'll have to see.